Alright. Okay. Alright, stream should be started any second now. So I'm taking care of a couple things real quick here. Hopefully, audio's coming in just fine. Hopefully. It kind of looks like there might be still storm coming outside. Hopefully it doesn't come in too soon. This shouldn't take too long though, so hopefully it'll be just fine. So, let me check things out. I'm gonna go ahead and see if we can get chat opened up here. Oh wait, it's right here on the thing. Alright, awesome. I see it. Just pop us out. Real quick reference. Alright, so hopefully in just a sec we're gonna go ahead and just kinda go over looping some audio. Primarily for BRSTM conversion, you know, doing this for project M's, you know, model Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And of course BRSTM it can be applicable to other Wii games as well that use the audio format. And oh my god, what is it doing now? This program be dumb. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get the song I need to download first. I probably should have had that taken care of, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off of the Discord real quick. Go ahead and PM Sonic Discord. I think it was a remix of Lava Reef Zone, so here we go. Just go up and pull this up in the browser. Can you give me okay in the chat if things are coming in just fine? No major like frame drops or whatever? Oh, what's this? Alright, it played by its own. Right. Is everything coming in fine? No, this thing has a delay and stuff to it, but hopefully it shouldn't be all that much. And just keep that. You know, I could probably just keep the preview disabled now that I think about it. Just okay, hopefully. Oh wait, I could just use chat for that, right? Real quick. Alright, awesome. We'll go ahead and let's go ahead and use. Oh wait, there's a download right here. Let's see if it doesn't cost money or something to get this. Otherwise, we just have to get whatever. We'll just get it however we can here. If we can get a nice quality song, that'd be good. It's the Sonic 3 Lava Reef Zone. Sonic Knuckles. Right. This one was it. Alright, should be the MP3 file here. Let's lower that just a bit. Say this as BRSTM folder. It'll be an MP3 file for now. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead now that we have the song that we're gonna go ahead and loop there. And go ahead and pull up Audacity, see if the audio downloaded just fine. Hopefully I'm not getting too much background noise. I'm kind of literally just doing my parents' house here, so. Funking. Okay, right. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the BRSTM file from here. Lava Reef Zone. Okay, seems to be downloaded just fine. That's audio's not showing up on my end here, just on the actual audio speakers. So let me change that real quick. Audio's Audacity is kind of funny like that. See, how is it now? Okay, kind of looking from the wave structure here. Maybe a little bit harder to decide what loop points we're going to be aiming for exactly. We can go ahead and see. We might have to do a custom loop pointer. This one doesn't loop naturally on its own here, so I'm do just listening to bits and pieces of it to see what can we pick at here. I'm leaning towards this volume jump here around the 45-second mark. Let's see. Okay, maybe here might be a good loop point. Let's see. And usually what I like to do is press play right on here to see if whenever it starts to play right away, if it feels like it naturally, the drum beat is lined up right when you press play here. Yeah. This will work fine. So we just split it. Yeah, I use shortcut Control I. Or we can go into edit and see, is it edit? Normally you would have a point selected here on the audio, on the track there, and don't remember where that was. Real quick, where would it be under? How did I learn that exactly? Well, I guess for now you can just, if you're on Windows, you can go ahead and press Control I to split that. Otherwise, you might, if you're on Mac or something, it might be a little different, but anyway. Potential loop point there. Let's go ahead and listen to other pieces of the song, see what we can get. It's usually definitely is a lot easier to find the loop point itself that you want if you're already familiar enough with the song, or if it's like it's been recorded, if it was played already with the intention that that it'd be loopable. A lot of video game tracks tend to be that way. Okay, so we could possibly do a custom loop point so we can get the rest of this song to show up in our audio files for it to be looped, or we can just go with a more standard loop like this loop point we have back here that might better fit with the start point we have established back here just past the 1 minute mark. Alright, so I guess we'll do, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate first with what a more natural loop point might sound like. So usually instead of going about just like fine-tuning the loop point here, what I like to do go ahead and is actually create a copy of the track past the intended start loop point here. And I go ahead and just paste it onto a new track here. Hopefully, you know, both the volume settings are fine and this one is okay to go. Another note too that'll be really helpful, and that'll actually will probably be, yeah, definitely will be necessary whenever you put this into BrawlBox, is you have the measurements down here at the bottom in samples here, and the sample points that are given down here are also dependent on the project rate that's given right here on the bottom left. So we already have that set in sample, so we're fine on that end for now. So okay, I'm going back here. My method here is to actually be able to line this up with a point just beyond the end loop point for the song here. And you know, if this was a track that was already naturally extended, then you know you could line up the audio waves perfectly here. So you know, this one has similar waves to here, but I know there are a few musical differences at this point of the song. So let's just go ahead and see what happens when I play it. Be ready for volume warning here. So I'm gonna give you a couple seconds for that here. Don't know how loud it's gonna be exactly, especially since I've been messing around with the volume on my computer too. 3, 2, 1. Let's give this a go here. See what it sounds like. See if it comes in naturally. Okay, so yeah, so like, you know, you listen to it here and you see, okay, like it's not all that bad in terms of sync, but if you're definitely a picky person like me, you'll hear that, you know, the drums, you can hear the difference in time that the drum beats actually hit here. So you know, they're not perfectly aligned. Ideally, what you would like to have is that, well, drum beats will be perfectly aligned, and even if possible too, you know, that it basically sounds like one drum beat. It's kind of my way of thinking about that. Obviously, it's not doable all the time, especially with the custom loop points, but if it's achievable, go for that. But otherwise, just go with the best you can here. So yeah, you saw this track now was just slightly ahead of the top track here. So like what I usually like to do is observe when the impact of the wave starts here. So like when I say that, you have points like this down here where you have sort of low intensity waves that suddenly just start to that sort of signify the beginning of the actual drum hit sound here. Same for up here, right? The waves aren't exactly the same, but you can hopefully at least identify when you can either just identify roughly the start points for these guys and try to line them up, or another thing that I try to do is like try to find some similarities in the wave structure and just go ahead and line those up here. I'll primarily be messing with the bottom track here still, so let's see. So you see there are a couple of similarities in the wave structures. You see this sort of like downed part right here, followed by this more intense part of the waves here, also followed by this kind of like mound of the wave here, or something with a drop. You know, so we can use that clear shape to kind of guide us on how exact we're gonna line up our waves, our tracks here. So usually possible, we can try to find some even more further distinct features of the waves and just try to line it up by those. Otherwise, we'll just try to get as best as we can and just go for a trial and error method instead. But yeah, a little hard to tell this one. Oh, perhaps this here. Kind of see these jagged points here. It's sort of lined up already, so you have like on the left, or the upper track lined up with the bottom upper track here. This sort of extreme point here. Same with the top bottom and the bottom track. They seem to be fine, so we can go ahead and give this a shot. And go ahead and play this again in just a sec. Let me go ahead and check out chat. Okay, yeah. Alright. I don't know how long ago that message was there for it being too loud, so I'll just go ahead and lower it down. But there's not gonna. What I might do is just try not to talk too much while the track is playing, since it is kind of important that I can hear the track myself to see if there's any disparities in when the drum beats are hitting. So I guess yeah, I'll try to keep myself quiet during during the songs here. So playing again. Alright, so like when we're gonna listen to that again in just a sec here, but right here, the drum beats are lined up so much more better now. They sound, like I said, practically sounds like one drum beat here. So gonna run through that again. I'm just kind of give you an idea what kind of things we should be hearing here. You know, especially for parts of tracks that sound the same or very similar. You might hear it might almost sound like you're just amplifying, or you're raising the volume of one track instead of it being two tracks playing at the same time. You know, in a very conceptual image, symbolic kind of way, you know? Okay, playing again. Okay, so now that we have that lined up, take note of the fact that we haven't really done any sort of cutting to this part of the track here. So the bottom track, which is actually this chunk of the track up here, in between the two parts of the loop here. So what we're gonna do next is just try to find a more quieter part of the. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a chunk of this bottom track here, and you know, sort of in this sort of way is sort of our beginning loop point, so that we get a more seamless loop once we do this editing here. So let me just go ahead and demonstrate to kind of give you a better idea what we're talking about here, right? So there's these parts of the audio that look very similar here. So maybe pick something right over here where it's not as loud. I'm gonna go ahead and split that, right? What I'm gonna go ahead and do is silence this part here. I don't want to delete it actually, because I'm gonna want to use this as a sort of reference here. I'll go ahead and do that. Go ahead and delete the rest of this part here. And now instead of hearing both of them play at the same time, now we'll see how this loop comes out with this track edit here. So what we essentially did is we looked for this quieter parts of the audio, so that there's less chance of clipping occurring whenever, you know, we have this transition from this track here back to just a little past the first loop point we set down here, right? So let's go ahead and play that, see what it sounds like. Okay, so it's pretty nice, right? Not perfect though. Like, there's this part on the top here where you hear this very like windy kind of sound that comes at whenever we get back to the loop point here. So there's that sort of clipping that occurred there. So maybe we can try to. We can try to find a part further down this track down here to use as a new loop point here. So we're just gonna undo that. Undo. Let's look a little further down. Maybe over here. Same thing again. Split them. Silence the part right here after the loop point. Delete that and see what it sounds like. Okay, so there's a bit of difference in the audio there, that it's not going to be seamless, to be honest here. So if you're a bit more of a music aficionado like me, I think the next best thing, if we can't achieve a seamless loop here, is to at least find a loop point that kind of lines up a bit more with the music. So you see, like, the sound here didn't really occur. The change here didn't really occur on a strong beat. So, like, listen to this again. Like, it just changed to more down low kind of state, right in the middle of the measure there. You know, speaking music terms here, but it's alright. It's alright if you don't know what I'm talking about. Hopefully you at least understand what kind of things we're looking out for here. So what I'll go ahead and do is actually just find a just a good strong beat that we can select as our loop point instead. It may not be seamless, it might be, but well, let's go ahead and try this out here. What I'm going to go ahead and do, solo this part out. We're down here, and I'm going to pick what probably would sound like another good loop point for this to work out at instead. Let me back that up again. 4. So I'd say this is a really good spot to consider using as a loop point. So what I'm going to do instead now is select the beginning of this drum hit as a loop point instead. So I'm going to just try to hit right before this spike in the of the audio waves occurs. Use that as a new loop point. Go ahead and silence this again. Unmute the other track there. Now let's see what it sounds like. See if it's any bit more natural feeling here. I personally think it's a nice transition here. So okay, we're not gonna be a perfect loop, but let's just say this. Let's just assume now that this is a loop point we want to use, right? So now, what we're gonna want to do now is, you see this chunk of the track here that I left silent here? When I said that this is our reference here, what I meant is that we're gonna use this to adjust our beginning loop point and select a new one here from that. So I'm just gonna drag this over and line the beginning of that with the beginning of the loop point here, right? And now I'm gonna go ahead and split this part that aligns at the end of this little clip here. And so this should the beginning of this part right here should correspond exactly with the beginning of this bottom track right here, right? Since this whole chunk here this whole chunk here is more well, I should say, in other words, this chunk of the track down here is part of this huge chunk here, right? Just a copy. So it makes sense that this would work, right? So let me go ahead and do this now. What would happen if I use Audacity's loop play feature when I have roughly this part of the track selected here, right? So beginning loop point all the way to our end loop point. So now in that editing we did, we actually essentially adjusted our end loop point as well. So this is our old one, this is our new one I'm going to use, so it's going to loop back to this bottom part of the track down here. Let's just loop play, and I'm going to skip through parts of it right here while that feature is activated. So Windows, that's Shift spacebar or Shift and click the play button. Skipping through that. There might be a little bit of clipping there too, just because Audacity might lag a little bit when it decides to loop, but let's see how it sounds. So now, in essence, we have our new loop points, and Audacity managed to play this just fine. It sounds exactly the same as the loop we just had before. So now, this is our approach here to actually converting to getting ready to convert this to a BRSTM file, we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep this Audacity project open while we take care of this, but we're going to go ahead and do is export the audio you want to have. If you don't want to export the whole thing, you can select whatever the important chunks are and export that too. Just make sure you take a note of the project rate as well. So let's go ahead and do export selected audio or export audio if it doesn't matter to you if we're exporting everything. Just going to do that for now. And go back to our BRSTM folder here. Now we're going to want to make sure we save this as a WAV file because BrawlBox only accepts WAV files. There possibly other files I'm not aware of, but primarily WAV files for BRSTM looping. So we're going to go ahead and save in that file type. Type.wav just for safety. Might not need to do that though, but let's go ahead and do that. Save it under the same name. I don't know if this is an issue in previous BrawlBox versions, but just to be safe, I would clear the metadata on the track too. I know I've had some issues with having metadata still filled out there whenever I import that into BrawlBox. We'll go ahead and just clear those out. Hit OK. Alright. Now that that's exported, I'm going to go ahead and open a suitable version of BrawlBox. Go ahead and use version 0.77 here. I believe this is the right one. Yep. Size that up a bit. So now we're under here. We're going to go under File to New Audio BRSTM audio string. And go through that. It's going to prompt us to open up a WAV file. So we're going to go ahead and go to the WAV file we had exported just now. This here. Hopefully, if it imported correctly, you should see the frequency, the number of samples, and a bit more features over here about the track as well. So the total length of the track we had down here on the right. And we can go ahead and play what we have here. Alright, so now we're gonna go. This is why we needed Audacity open now. We're gonna go ahead and select that edited loop point here, our beginning loop point and our end loop point. Make sure at the bottom here, where you have 3 different meters here for the number of samples, you can choose between the end number of the sample of the selection you have, or the length of the selection that you have here. I personally prefer to set this at the end, towards end there, so it's a little bit easier to read off with your selection start here. So the selection start and the selection end are going to be what we're going to be entering into BrawlBox here. So you see our start loop point is, what is this here? 2896313. And you see kind of a visual measure of what that's like. You can adjust that if you want, but well, let's not do that for now. 2896313. And you see our end point as well, so that's 6203815. Alright, and before we hit OK, we're just gonna go ahead and just run through the loop one more time to see if this plays correctly in BrawlBox. So let's just. Alright, so that pretty much is the same loop we achieved right in Audacity. So once we have that, we can go ahead and press OK. Go ahead. Alright, since that seems to have exported it into BRSTM successfully, so we can just finally go ahead and save as. Keep the same name on this, or name it whatever you want. Just make sure you have a .brstm at the end. Normally, without the appendix of .brstm, it'll usually default to saving as BRSTM, but I usually do that just to be on the safe side. Save that, and we should be good now. Have our completed BRSTM now. Alright. Go ahead and check out chat here and see. I'm thinking about demonstrating real quick with a video game track that just loops, naturally speaking, and just converting that into BRSTM myself as well with a seamless loop. Let's see. House noises. Yeah, I'm literally sitting on my living room couch, just being in the house, doing house things. Alright, so let's see. Let me just go ahead and just do one that I've already looped before. I'll just import. Let's see. Bye. Sort by. Oh, come on, really? Just by type. Oh, a fun fact, Audacity can actually import BRSTM files too, and you can read them. Like that. Just like that. Anyway. Collapse that. Just see, what should I go ahead and try? Something I know does. What's my favorite? What's the titles on these guys? Try Twinkle Snow by TechWorks here. I think this one has a pretty natural loop point. Let me adjust the volume of this thing real quick. It looks pretty quiet. I should raise it up some, maybe raise it a couple more. Okay. Okay, so we have a track here that... Oh, Jesus Christ. This might be a little difficult to work with, but I have a track that has a more natural loop, and we can more or less clearly see it already by the structure of the track. You have this part here, corresponding this part here again, so... this is painful. So we're going to go ahead and do what we did last time. So we're going to go ahead and take whatever's our beginning loop point, which I'll just make it the very beginning here. And we're just going to go ahead and then line that up over with the next part of the track that's going to loop over again. So going to look closer at it. And since, you know, if this is an accurately created loop, then we should see that even both of these parts, even though they're not exact duplicates, should still be approximately, if not exactly, the same in waveform here. So we should be able to line these up pretty easily if the waves are readable enough. So these two bumps over here. So you see, I kind of lined them up. You see these little, like, well, I don't know what you'd call them. Banks, valleys, and the waveform, kind of looking similar to ones they have over here. You can just try it out. end me. Let's see if it end. Actually, no. I was gonna say something, but disregard. I was gonna say just now. Let's just see how it sounds like for now. So yeah, I think it sounds like it's aligned up just nicely. The drum beats are right on it. You know, there's no, you're not like going back and forth and all. It just sounds like one drum beat. So, so now for a point that we're gonna take as our new starting loop point, let's just let me see here. I'm gonna do something real quick here, but don't mind me for now. Yeah. Maybe right here might be a good part to loop to loop from. We're gonna do what I did before, silence the tail part of the beginning here. Delete that just to test it out. Let's see, so we don't get any audio clipping. Hopefully it runs through just seamlessly. Unfortunately, there was a bit of clipping there. Might need to adjust it a little bit more. Let's try a little further down here. Yeah, the waveform doesn't look exactly the same. That's the problem here. It's gonna be a bit of an issue, so we'll just work with whatever we can here. If this doesn't work, then not too sure what will here. Go ahead and try that same loop point again. Maybe I'll move it over just a little bit. Just see if that wasn't a bad spot. Oh yeah, that worked so much more better. See that again. Alright. So we have something that sounds... So we have something that's good to go again. So we're going to go ahead and use that reference point again. We can copy and paste it if you want, but you're going to want to make sure to delete it afterwards. Set that to the beginning. Adjust that loop point and delete this part, this piece here. And so we're looping from this point back to over here. So we're not gonna run that loop on Audacity again. So we're just gonna go ahead and just gonna export the whole thing for now. I'll just call this test wave or something. Rates 44/100. Clear metadata. And that's exported. So now we're gonna go run that through in BrawlBox. Close that out. Go through new audio BRSTM. run our test wave file. Alright, so we have the piece of the track that's going to be looped. We have the loop points down here, so that's 178, 889, and that's 3682, 547. Let's run this loop right now. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's gonna work. A little bit of audio popping since I might have made the track a little too loud. A lot of it can usually be alleviated by lowering the volume of the tracks here, or you can just leave it. It's not as noticeable in game, but you definitely don't want to have any series audio like popping issues there. It's just sort of a thing with BrawlBox, I think, that doesn't seem to handle waves that exceed this certain volume limit. I'm not sure of the true nature of that, but you know, having a too high a volume seems to be something that correlates heavily with getting audio popping when you process it through BrawlBox. All right, that works. I'm not gonna go ahead and save this. I'm just gonna close it out. If you close it out, yeah, you know, you're pretty much gonna have to run that thing through again. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that's just about all I have to show for how I go and loop BRSTMs, loop audio. So hopefully that was helpful. You can refer back to the stream sometime again. Leave a couple comments here or there if you have any other kind of more specific questions regarding some of the things I covered in the stream, and yeah, hopefully background noise and all that weren't too distracting. But yeah, well, I think that'll be it for now. So peace out.